All right, let's talk about how you can become an entrepreneur through acquisition entrepreneurship. Hi, guys. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're having a good day. I'm having myself a cup of tea. I'm typically a coffee drinker, but feeling some tea lately, so going to try it. Curious if you like coffee or tea. I always like to learn what other people enjoy. Let's get to it. Today, we're going to talk about the idea of acquisition entrepreneurship. So there's a variety of ways to grow a business, one of which is through organic growth. And organic growth is a pretty simple concept. It's really just the idea of growing a business internally through sales. Examples could be running social media ads, attracting customers that come to landing pages, and then they buy your products. That's organic growth. There's another way to grow a business, but it's much more costly. However, I do see plenty of professionals use it to get into business, particularly for the very first time if they're not a very creative person. So what that is that is called acquisition entrepreneurship. And it's what it sounds like. It is acquiring an existing business. And I see this a lot with professionals that end up going out and buying into a franchise. So just recently had a contact of mine in Alabama reach out to me. Hey, Jason, hope you're doing well. And he was looking at buying into a franchise. He's never been quote unquote entrepreneurial himself. He's never had his own business that I'm aware of. And this would be his first foray, fancy word, into it. And there's a lot of pluses and minuses to acquisition entrepreneurship. So it's just buying an existing business and doing that in order to get into business. Now, a couple of things I want you to think about. There are some benefits to buying into an existing business, and I'm going to check my notes here so I can get it right. Now, I'm going to make an analogy for you. I compare the idea of acquisition entrepreneurship to adopting an older pet, an older dog. And I'm sharing this because we're in this whole debate in my household right now about a new pet. We lost our 18-year-old cat back around the holidays, and we've been looking at getting a new pet. And when you adopt an older animal, you move past those puppy years, right? So you don't have to deal with all the puppy stuff of teaching them to go outside to use the restroom and not to chew on things and all these things. Well, when you buy an existing business, you're buying an existing model that should have all kinds of policies and procedures in place. And and the employees inside it, it should know how to run itself from a day in and day out model. There's not having to create what that's going to look like and how do we onboard a new customer, things like that you deal with in a startup. How do we even sell the product? Most of that is already established in an existing business. That doesn't mean it's working well, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. The benefits of acquisition entrepreneurship is you're buying an existing revenue stream, theoretically, right? Let's hope that if you're looking to buy a business, you're not buying one that's doing terrible and not making any money. Some people do that. Those are called turnaround specialists. Most people that buy into an existing business are buying that book of customers, that existing revenue stream. The idea with the franchise is that it's established. You're getting all the policies and procedures set up. You know what products to sell, you know how to sell them, when to sell them, how to advertise. All that is set up for you. And so those are some of the benefits of acquisition entrepreneurship. You're also getting an established brand, just like I said with the franchise. Or if you're buying an existing business, a hardware business, you're getting an established brand, even if it's not a mega brand like an Ace Hardware. If it's just a mom and pop hardware business, you're still getting what you would like to think is an established brand. So those are all some of the benefits of acquisition entrepreneurship. Now, there are some challenges too. So for example, if the existing owner is a very, very integral part of the business, then it can be hard to make that transition over to the new owner. And I actually saw this with a business transaction that I was part of here in my hometown. So I advised the owner on the sale of a $3 million business. Must have been, gosh, I don't know how long ago that's been now, probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. And the new owner that bought the business was not quite as charismatic as the previous owner. And the type of business that it was required a bit more outgoing, a bit more charismatic type owner. And so the business, from my understanding, has not done as good now that it's transitioned over to a new owner. There's also the chance, and it's something you should very much factor on when you determine what you're going to pay for the business, that some percentage of the customers, when you acquire a business, are not going to stay with you. That just the change in management, if they know about it, right? They don't always know, but the change in management, sometimes people just see change as could be a bad thing and they elect to move on with their business. So know that you're probably going to lose some customers, and you should factor that into what you pay for the business and what you anticipate the future revenue streams being. It's also expensive to do acquisition entrepreneurship, right? So if you're just starting from new and you're doing organic growth, it's not quite as costly to grow a business. So purchasing a business can help your business grow quickly or help you get into business quickly, but it's also more costly. So for example, if you're going to fund the purchase of that business through loans, you need to count on at least 10 to 25% of your own money, your own cash going into that deal. If you're going to use investors, you need to count on and bringing on another level of complexity to that business model. So those are some of the benefits and some of the challenges of acquisition entrepreneurship. Now, the real question is acquisition entrepreneurship right for you? This is something you really need to think about. So you should probably start with this whole idea of it's more costly. Do I have the wherewithal to go out and acquire a business in the first place? There are ways to buy existing businesses that don't require as much cash. Some owners will self-finance the sale of that business. Oftentimes, when I've seen those kind of transactions, I've questioned why the owner was selling in the first place. Was it not doing as good as it should? So these are all things I want you to think about and be careful. But running an existing business takes a totally different skill set than starting up a brand new business. This is why you see startup CEOs down the road, they tend to get replaced by more traditional managerial CEOs. So who was it? Meg Whitman came in and took over eBay, right? And she wasn't the person that started eBay, but she had a traditional managerial set. She was familiar with running an existing business and how to scale it to a large level. Most startup CEOs tend to not have that skill set. They're really good early on in a business, and then it's best to hand it off to somebody else to run. So that's one way to decide if it's good for you. Acquisition entrepreneurship may not be right for you if you want to be what I call an absentee owner. And that's just the type of owner who wants to buy a business and using the info commercial example, set it and forget it. You just want to buy the business, have somebody else run it. You want to collect cash and sit back and do nothing. If you plan on being an absentee owner, then acquisition entrepreneurship may not be right for you, because in this transition from one owner to the next, it takes a level of involvement. You should plan on being involved because there's the opportunity to come in and improve how the business runs. And if you're not there to do that, it's unlikely that someone else will really be able to do that really well for you, even if you hire someone to run it. So these are all things you need to think about. Know that acquisition entrepreneurship is a path to getting into business or scaling your existing business. If you can find something synergistic and acquire that business, you've now got another revenue stream. This is a way of getting into business, but it is more costly and it has its own challenges, just like starting a business from fresh. I hope that information helps you. Until next time, hope you find your voice. Have a great day.